Welcome to the ChoPhoto channel on YouTube. Today I'll be creating a demonstration video on how to use the Photomerge tool in Adobe Photoshop CS4. I'm creating this video at the request of my good friend Jeremy. We're going to start by going to the File menu, going to Automate, and selecting Photomerge. I should note that I've already renamed my images and put them in a folder and back that folder up. We're going to choose to do a cylindrical stitch today. You can see below each of the different layout types an example of how Photoshop will attempt to rearrange the pictures. I'm going to go to Browse, and I'm going to select 3 of the images I'd like to stitch together. These are actually 3 of 11 from a total series, but for the sake of this demonstration, I'm only going to do the first 3. I'm now going to tell Adobe Photoshop that I want to vignette my removals and correct for geometric distortions. And I'm going to go ahead and tell it to start. It's important to remember that when you're doing a shoot where you're going to be merging photos together, that you do want to orient your camera vertically, and that way you get a larger potential vertical print size, and also you want to overlap about 1/3 of the content in each frame. On these, I overlapped a little bit more of 1/3 by accident. I was kind of in a hurry because the sun was setting. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording and pick back up once Photoshop has finished merging all of my images together. Okay, Photoshop has finished merging together all 3 of those frames. As you can see over here in the Layers menu, I have my first image it used, my second image it used, and my third image it used. As you can see, I overlapped about 50% of the information in each frame. 1/3 is really all that you need. As soon as you're sure you have a successful stitch, you typically want to go to your File menu, do a Save As, put a name in for your image, and I'd recommend saving your first copy as a Photoshop document or a PSD, as these have lossless compression, meaning that they will be compressed but not in a way that damages the quality of the image, and they're also fully editable. All of your layers and everything will still be there. After you have saved your image, you want to zoom in to 100%, and you want to review each of the stitch lines by looking around and turning things on and off to make sure everything lines up the way it's supposed to. As long as everything lines up in a satisfactory way, you can go ahead and zoom back out. And like I said, you would want to review that for all of the different stitches in the image. Any errors in stitching can typically be solved by using the clone stamp tool, and I will cover how to use that clone stamp tool in a different lesson. After you've got all of your gaps around the edges cloned in or cropped out, which you can crop them out using the crop tool, you want to go ahead and probably save one more time as a PSD. Just save over the old one, and then after that you would want to save it as a JPEG for output. If you're going to print it, you would want to go to Image, Size, and resize it to the print size you want, being particularly aware of your resolution. If you don't want to add or subtract any resolution, make sure you uncheck the resample box, so that as you change any one of the height, width, or resolution settings, it will change the others to match, so that it's just rearranging data, spreading it out or condensing it, and not actually throwing anything away or making anything up. If you did want to actually resize it, you do want to recheck resample, so that you can set your print size as, say, an 8:6, and that would then be at whatever resolution you put in, and that will then either throw away or add in data as needed. After that, you would save as a JPEG by doing File, Save As, changing your format to JPEG. I recommend adding a dash onto the end of it so that you know what it is. So if you had resized for web, for example, you'd want to add a dash WEB so you know it was the one you had resized for web. That concludes how to use the Photomerge tool in Adobe Photoshop CS4. Feel free to visit us at www.chophoto.com. That's CHOPHOTO.com. And feel free to email me any additional questions through my website.